The stars did not witness mercy that night. They witnessed precision. 3 years, 4 months, and 17 days. That was how long the Galactic Coalition had been systematically dismantling human civilization, star system by star system, colony by colony, until the fires of 100 burning worlds had painted the void between galaxies a dull, indifferent orange. Supreme Chancellor Zareth had calculated it perfectly. Humanity was fractured. Humanity was desperate. Humanity was finished. He stood at the center of the Coalition's flagship bridge, the Eternal Dominion, surrounded by delegates from 47 species who had all agreed on one thing: humans were too dangerous to coexist with, too unpredictable to negotiate with, and too stubborn to simply surrender. The only solution was erasure. Final count of surviving human fleets? Zareth asked, his four-fingered hands folded behind his back with the practiced calm of a being who had won every war he'd ever entered. 17 vessels confirmed operational, his tactical officer reported. All retreating toward the Kepler expanse. They have nowhere to go, Chancellor. The perimeter is sealed. Zareth allowed himself a rare smile, a thin, cold thing that other species found unsettling. Send word to the Coalition delegates. Humanity's last chapter will be written before morning. No one questioned him. No one ever did. Aboard the retrofitted cruiser Unbroken, Admiral Darian Voss was not sleeping. She hadn't slept in 11 days. Her uniform was clean, she insisted on that, always, because the moment a commander looked defeated was the moment her crew became defeated, but the shadows beneath her eyes told a different story. The kind of story written in grief and held together by sheer, unreasonable will. 17 ships. She had started this war commanding 412. Voss stood at the holographic table in her command room, surrounded by 6 officers who had been with her since the fall of New Geneva. Nobody spoke. They were all looking at the same thing she was looking at, a tactical display showing the Coalition's encirclement, tightening like a fist. They think we're running, she said finally. Lieutenant Okafor, her tactical officer, glanced up. Aren't we? Voss turned the display with 2 fingers, rotating it slowly. We're retreating. There's a difference. She expanded a section near the edge of the Kepler expanse, a dense cluster of dormant communication relay stations, Coalition infrastructure, nearly 3 centuries old. Okafor, pull up the relay network analysis. The one Commander Shen's team finished 6 weeks ago. He brought it up. The room went very quiet. Admiral, said Captain Reyes from the far end of the table, if we do this, they'll know what we're capable of, Voss said. Yes. It'll change everything. It already changed everything. Her voice was flat. Certain. The moment they burned Kepler Station with 40,000 civilians aboard, the rules of this engagement became ours to write. She looked around the table, meeting each pair of eyes. We didn't start this war. But I promise you, we are going to end it. Silence. Then Okafor nodded. One by one, the others followed. Supreme Chancellor Zareth received the first anomaly report 40 minutes later. A single relay station in Sector 9 had gone offline. Then another. Then a third. By the time his communications officer flagged the pattern, 11 stations had dropped from the grid in a cascading sequence that should have been mathematically impossible without direct physical access to each node. It's a malfunction, his systems analyst offered. The relay network is ancient. Degraded infrastructure. They're doing it remotely, said a Veth technician, his pale blue skin gone a sickly white. Chancellor, the humans have been inside the relay network. Not recently. Months. They've had backdoor access for months. Zareth turned slowly. That's not possible. The network uses Coalition standard encryption. It would take. Humans, the Veth technician said quietly, and the word itself seemed to carry weight, do not stop. They kept trying. They kept iterating. Chancellor, they have had silent access to our entire communication backbone since before the fall of New Geneva. The bridge fell silent. Zareth's second anomaly report arrived 14 seconds later. All 47 coalition delegates had lost secure communications simultaneously. What happened in the next 6 hours would be debated, studied, and quietly feared by military strategists across the galaxy for the next 2 centuries. Admiral Darian Voss did not attack the coalition fleet. She didn't need to. 17 human ships, retrofitted and battered and held together in some places by sheer engineering stubbornness, used their access to the ancient relay network to do something no one had anticipated. They listened. And then they talked. Not to the coalition. To everyone else. Every colony world under coalition occupation. Every species that had been told humanity was a warmongering aggressor. Every delegate who had voted for the extermination accord based on intelligence briefings that Voss's team had spent 4 months quietly verifying were fabricated. The truth, all of it, documented, time-stamped, sourced, went out across the coalition's own communication network simultaneously, to every inhabited system within relay range. Evidence of the manufactured provocation that had started the war. Proof of atrocities committed under coalition authority and blamed on human forces. Financial records showing which delegates had profited from the conflict. Footage of Kepler Station, not the coalition's edited version, but the raw sensor data, uncut, showing who fired first. It took 11 minutes for the first coalition member world to pull its fleet back. It took 31 minutes for 3 more to follow. By the end of the second hour, 17 coalition member species had formally withdrawn support from the extermination accord and were demanding emergency hearings. By the end of the 4th hour, the Eternal Dominion had received formal censure notices from 9 of the coalition's own founding members. Zareth stood on his bridge and felt something he had never felt before in 60 years of political dominance. He felt the ground disappearing beneath him. The channel opened without warning. No formal request. No protocol exchange. Simply, open. Admiral Darian Voss's face appeared on the main screen of the Eternal Dominion. She looked exhausted. She looked like someone who had not slept in nearly 2 weeks and had spent those weeks carrying something unbearable. But her eyes were steady, and her voice, when she spoke, was perfectly, almost unnervingly calm. Chancellor Zareth. He straightened. 47 years of political training kicked in automatically. Admiral. I assume this is a surrender communication. No, she said simply. It's a courtesy call. He said nothing. You have about 4 hours before the coalition formally collapses around you, Voss continued. I wanted you to hear it from me directly, because I think you deserve to understand what happened. Not for your sake, for the historical record. Zareth's jaw tightened. You've thrown the galaxy into chaos. You threw the galaxy into chaos when you decided we were too dangerous to let live. Her tone didn't change. It wasn't heated. It wasn't triumphant. It was simply stating facts, the way someone states the temperature or the time. We didn't counterattack your fleet. We didn't destroy your infrastructure. We didn't burn your worlds. We told the truth, loudly, to everyone, using the network you built and assumed we couldn't access. A brief pause. You underestimated human patience, Chancellor. We spent months inside your systems waiting. Learning. Building a case that no court in the galaxy could dismiss. You can't dismantle a 47-species coalition with information. We just did. He had no answer for that. The silence stretched. What do you want? Zareth asked finally. What we always wanted, Voss said. To be left alone. To rebuild what you burned. To bury our dead. For just a moment, one unguarded second, something moved behind her eyes. Something deep and heavy and human. We had colonies, Chancellor. We had children. We had lives. We weren't warmongers. We were people. She let that sit. That's what you told the galaxy we weren't. I just spent 4 months proving you wrong. The channel closed. The Galactic Coalition did not survive the week. It didn't collapse violently, it unraveled, thread by thread, as member species withdrew, investigations were demanded, and the careful architecture of lies that had justified the extermination accord was dismantled in public hearings that were broadcast on every inhabited world. Supreme Chancellor Zareth was removed from office on the 5th day and placed in diplomatic detention pending formal tribunal. Admiral Darian Voss was offered 3 different ceremonial titles by 3 different species governments over the following month. She declined all of them. "I'm a fleet admiral," she told the journalist who asked. "My job isn't finished. We still have cities to rebuild." She went back to work. That was the thing about humans that the galaxy had never fully accounted for, had never wanted to account for, because it was deeply uncomfortable to face. They didn't fight wars for glory. They fought them to stop fighting them. And when they won, when they finally, after everything, won, they didn't celebrate. They rolled up their sleeves. They looked at the rubble and the grief and the long, terrible work ahead, and they started. The galaxy went silent the night of Voss's broadcast. It stayed silent for a long time after. Not from fear, though there was some of that. From something rarer, and perhaps more dangerous. Respect. End.